Wow, a typo in my intro, 2024. How did that get in there? Should have said 2025. Well, we know what year it is, even if I don't when I'm making my intros. So, welcome to the show, everybody. It's a Tuesday evening here. We're going to be looking at a preview for the April auction. This is no April Fools. There's plenty of great artwork in this set, and I've got Joe in the green room right now. So I'll just bring him in here and get him in, and we can get past that typo. Hey, how's it going? I should preview the intros with you. That way we would have caught that before
That's true.
I changed the month, but I didn't change the year in the text file that feeds that sucker. How you
What can I
been?
say? I'm proud of you.
Yes, I get it. Hey, and just what you know what? I for the first time in like 6 months, I'm actually streaming to Instagram right now too. So there's people who don't normally watch the show who are watching the show this evening.
Cool.
We can say hi to everybody on Instagram. Yeah. But yeah, so here we are. It's been a few months. I mean, I feel like this is like the one time where you have a gap between signature auctions. And so it's the only gap of the year, right, between January and April.
Yeah, the last two shows were, auctions were way too close together. I
Hmm.
mean, we actually overlapped the deadlines for the next was before the auction ended and everything else. So, yeah, this is a little bit of a breather, and I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, but it won't be long before we're doing these every 2 months. And I even got an email from the marketing department today where they had me swap out one of the mastheads on CAF for a preview for the international auction, right? Just before it was a call to consignments, and I guess it's getting close to starting time for the next one.
The international, I think, is April 26th.
Right.
So that's coming up right away. I'll ask, I don't know if you want to do a preview. I'll ask Olivier. He's got some cool stuff. So,
Oh, I'd love to. I mean, it was fun when we had him on last time. I know he has to stay up very late when we bring him on like that, but we could do an earlier show, right? I mean
yeah,
that would
we
work
did
for
it
me.
last time. I think we started at 3 o'clock and that worked out.
Yeah.
Three
Well,
o'clock our time. So,
right. Right. Yeah. Well, let's do that. We can do that during the week, and it'll
yeah.
make it much easier for him as well.
Yeah.
So, what else is new in your world?
Well, it's been busy. We've got this auction, like you say, because there's extra time. Normally, I do 40 items, but let me tell you, I could have easily done 100 items or more in this sale. There's a lot of high end art here and a lot of good art. I think a lot stronger sale in art than in books. I think that the art market, we just had a meeting today, and we were discussing it with Jim. We don't see any fall off in spite of what's going on in the world of politics and the art market. So let's hope that continues. I think baby books are a little bit flat, but I don't see that happening in art right now.
Mm.
And I'm seeing good stuff, not only changing hands, but becoming available and people looking for material. So I don't know. People are looking for a safe haven in a storm. I think the
Art,
same thing happened during
all art
COVID.
has always been that, right? I mean, whether it's fine
Exactly.
art or illustration art or comic art, yeah, it is that for certain. But yeah, I think the economic climate that's out there right now is more prohibitive to the artists themselves who might want to cross the border to go to shows and do art sales at local at cons in the U.S. I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot of European artists who are canceling, even just coming in for like art sabbaticals to the U.S. They're just like I can't risk traveling there. So I think it's impacting the market in ways that aren't going to impact the auction houses certainly, but the art market we might be limited by the artists that we have work that we can purchase from, at least for the near term, because they're not traveling to U.S. shows.
Yeah. Looks like we
But
have a good look, pretty active crew tonight. That's
yeah, Noel said what he's going to see you in Jersey this weekend, so you're going to be going to the Comic
yeah,
Book Con on
I
Sunday.
just responded. Yeah, and I mean, I've already got critics. Timothy says, what's he say here? Don't just
Don't preview the high end
don't
stuff.
preview the high end stuff. Meanwhile, everybody else just wants the high end stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you didn't. I think when I was going through it, there's plenty of lower end stuff too, but
Well, I try to
not a lot
just
of.
do things I find interesting, and I also take into account bid track to see what people are doing.
Mm,
Try and get a little of everything. Otherwise, it becomes redundant.
that's true. And we're going to do a review on the CAF update next week. I know for sure. Actually, I think we've got a full crew next week. Dan Poddick, um, Berkey even said he's going to be in there. Nick Barucci, and of course Dino will be in on it as well. So we'll start the CAF update next Thursday at 9, and probably do an hour and 15 minutes as a recap, and we'll definitely pick pieces across the entire spectrum, Sunday lots and all that. So yeah, and Kavi will be there at the Sunday con too. Well, I think a fair number of people in the chat will be. Oh, Tim wants his items to be advertised tonight. Well, hey, I don't know, Tim. Send some links. We'll be happy to pop up one or two of them up there for you. We
Yeah, if he, yeah, nobody, yeah, sometimes people do that. Say, hey, if you've got time, review this. Usually I ignore them, but
No, well, it's true. I mean, a
no, I
lot of
don't. I
the thing is, I see it all the time that when people have auctions at Heritage, you actually kind of make it easy for a consigner to show their set. So, I've seen that happen a lot, right, with that. So I know, like on Facebook, people are going to do that quite regularly. I see people actually post pieces that maybe they've never had on Comic Art Fans before into their CAF gallery and say it's on Heritage. It's in the current
Well,
Heritage.
that's making everybody happy. But Heritage, when you consign, when your consignment's coming up, it's scheduled like whether it's a weekly or whether it's the main, you'll get an email, an auto email that has a link to your items, and it says, feel free to share this with any of your friends or anyone else. So instead of, you have to go into your own and create a page basically, which is difficult because you can't send out your own page. But
Hmm.
with that link, it'll send out your consignment. So people do that. They post it up on Instagram and such, and it's a nice feature.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we have similar things built into like Comic Art Live when their booths are live and stuff. I mean, any way you can help the people who are, selling things through your platform to bring buyers in, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I didn't even include. I have 3 items in this sale that I didn't even include, but I, I should mention them. I have a page, Captain Marvel #2. The first Captain Marvel comic book, a Golden Age. One of the best pages, and a page from Vernon Green, The Shadow from
Hmm.
1941, and another page from Funny Man, #2, which is. Siegel and Schuster studio work. So 3 rare things. I just picked out a few things. I have stuff usually I put in the weeklies. So
Well, that's oh, I didn't even know that. I, do you put Infantino artwork in there? I know you have a lot of that.
we do.
Yeah.
Nadia just sent in probably 10 weeks worth of Infantino art.
Wow.
So they'll come up either every week or every other week for about 10 weeks. I also own, I have a lot of strip art and stuff like that, so I'll put those in. Yeah, we put a selection. I mean, I'm looking here. We have a stack of art that needs to be sent in. So
Well, I figured you just bring a briefcase to the Heritage offices and give them the combo and away you go.
you mean New York or in
Well,
Dallas? I'm
well,
not
I
going.
was
I
thinking
don't
more
go to
like
either.
Dallas, but
I don't
yeah.
go to either.
Oh man. All right. Well, cool. So yeah, there we go. We could start the show off with a piece from Tim because Kazra has put a link to something, one of the pieces in the chat. If I can actually copy it, let's see. Doggone it, I can't actually copy it from inside the doggone chat. That's funny. I thought I could highlight it and actually make it. Hey, Kazra, send that to me by Facebook Messenger, and I'll get it in there. I promise we'll get that one shown tonight. So, So yeah, well that's that. Well, so it's a stack. One of these days, we're gonna have to get you to do like a like a cribs video where you show us the whole walkthrough in your space, because I know we are always like pointing from the camera location at the amazing artworks on the wall, and we don't get a close view of them. Exactly.
That's the splash of Spider-Man 8.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Captain Atom #1, cover by Steve Ditko.
That's I I love me some Steve Ditko. Captain Atom is classic stuff, though. You don't
Well,
get to see that too often.
Spider-Man and Captain Atom,
Hmm.
both. I just happened to put those up like that.
All right, well, here we go. And now I can actually start off. I've got the link from Tim. So even before we go with the big heavy hitter to start the show off tonight, we're going to show Tim Guerrero's piece so everybody can see what piece one of the more interesting pieces that he sent in here. So what is it? It's a Andy Kubert, Cam Smith, X-Men 45 story page from 1995.
Mm.
This is during the period where I was not reading X-Men art, but what's not to love here? Cam Smith inks, always solid, and it's an Andy Kubert page from that issue. So very
Pretty
nice,
good
Tim.
looking female figure there.
Yeah, it did almost look like Wonder Woman at first, but
Yeah.
we know it's not.
Nice.
Anyway, nice one. There you go, Tim. So
Yeah.
thank you, Kezra, for helping get that link over here to get us started. So, all right, let's dive into the lots here. Now, let's before we do, the timing of the signature auction. So the art is on what day? Is it on
Well, the auction
Thursday?
begins the whole auction begins April 3rd with the
Right.
comic books once again, and you have platinum and floor one after the other in comics on the 3rd, and then
Mhm.
Friday, April 4th, is the comic platinum night and the comic floor night. Then the next day is comics, Robo, and the final day is on Sunday, non-floor um, art, and that begins Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Okay.
So the signature sale is 11 a.m. Central Time on Friday.
All right. So those of us on the East Coast will be tuning in at noon. Now, all right, what do we got here? The first piece of the night is probably the
Gotta
one.
be
Yeah, exactly. I mean, after the Black Cat sale from
exactly.
the prior one in January, right? We have
Yeah.
the first Spider Woman here, Gil Kane from Marvel Spotlight 32, already at 310. I kind of forget where the Black Cat was when we did our preview, but I don't think it had hit 500,000 at that point. So, uh,
No, I thought it
yeah,
was around 400,000, but yeah, that was a stunning number.
it was. It definitely was. But I can see that. See, you get a sale like that, you get some people interested to see what another Marvel female character first appearance cover piece would go for. So we're gonna get to find
Absolutely.
in a few days.
Yeah. I mean, this is a cool cover. This Spider Woman was basically created because Marvel wanted to tie up the trademark. Uh, they were worried that somebody else would come up with Spider Woman because Spider Man was so popular. So Archie Goodwin planned this to be a one off in order to ensure the trademark of the name Spider Woman. Needless to say, the comic had higher sales than they expected, and so Marvel decided to change her origin and put her in her own ongoing series. The book ran from what was it, 1978 to 1983, and had 50 issues. So not only is this the first appearance, but it's her on the cover, and it has the whole 9 yards, and it exists, which
Mm,
is pretty stunning. And I don't ever remember this being on the market, so this is a really cool piece.
agreed. Didn't Marvel do that the same thing with She-Hulk? They were worried about
Yep.
where that might
Hmm.
go, so they did the same thing there. Hey,
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah. Intellectual property. They were a little bit ahead of their time there.
Yeah, but who would have thought, right? That both characters would end up sticking and doing as well as they did. I mean, I loved when Leia Loa took over, a lot of the penciling on Spider Woman. So it was some of the really great art there. I mean, he usually, was best known for as an inker, but when he took over the penciling, he was phenomenal. I really like those issues. And
I
Infant did some too, right?
Yep. Spider Woman has a real hardcore following. I mean, we had prob the two most popular Marvel Infantino things were Star Wars and Spider Woman, without
Hmm.
a doubt. There
Makes
are
sense.
there are hardcore Spider Woman collectors.
There are. I know. I have one page from Leialoha, and it was pretty hard to get because
Yeah.
because there are, like you said, they're hardcore. But we'll be all watching this one, see where this thing ends up, and yeah, it'll be interesting. So let's see. I'll close that tab and move on to the next one. So Don Heck, another Tales of Suspense, 39 page.
Yeah, I mean, I had to make this, one of the top pages as well. I mean, this is a really great page. This is the first time you see Iron Man in costume. He's on the table. It's the really dramatic page. Tony Stark and Professor Jensen have been working to create the armor that's first of all going to save his life, and then also going to become the classic costume. And here, he's running out of time, so the professor sacrifices himself in order to save because the chest plate is not yet charged. So he's got to run out and get some time for the suit to be charged. You have not died. You have. You will not have died in vain, my friend. I swear it. The Iron Man swears it. Pretty cool.
That's the line you needed, right? And this one's at 135 right now. So I mean, all those pages from this issue have done pretty well, especially when there's a costumed page like this one. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
And again, new to the market, a classic Iron Man, Marvel character, origin and first appearance. You know, I mean, who'd have thought that these handful of characters back then we'd be talking about them 60 years later?
Hmm.
It's crazy.
I see Josh just turned in. He said he's tuning in to see the things that he'll never be able to own, and Corey's with him. It's not you never say never, guys.
Oh, hey, listen, I've often said, how many? I mean, I've been you know doing conventions since the 70s. You know how many kids used to come to the booth and say, if I ever make it big, I'm going to be buying this and this and this. I mean, and all of that. And you know what? Maybe it's one in 1,000 or whatever it is, but they do, and those are the big buyers today.
Hmm. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
So
I mean, what is this cover up to already? 200 k more.
yeah, with the 240 with the buyer's premium. So yeah.
I mean, a Herb Trippy, John Severin Hulk cover. Now, this may be the best, uh, you know, Trippy Hulk cover with Doctor Doom.
Mhm.
But if it's not, it's one or number two for sure. And they're in hand to hand contact. Uh, what are you going to say? Number one villain against the Hulk.
No, I like this cover a lot. Obviously, like you say, anything with Doctor Doom. There's a lot of Doctor Doom collectors out there, and we know the Hulk fans, and a lot of the covers are in a few people's collections. So it's interesting to see this one.
Yeah.
Trimpy's work on this is nice, and you get Doom's Castle too.
And I think Severin, instead of that kind of scratchy style, this is a much cleaner inking job, much more apropos with the characters, and because of the shading in Doom's costume.
Hmm.
So it's really well done. I mean,
Right. Well, you
it's
think
a
of
great image.
a lot of the Trimpy covers from this run. Yeah, this has a definite finer detail to the way the inking's done on it. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I'll be curious to knowing how many Hulk fans are out there, I'll be curious to see where this one ends up.
Yeah, these have always been in demand, always.
Still 15 cents. All right. So see, here's something that's not uh $200,000. This Bagley Amazing Spider-Man cover from '94.
Yeah, I thought I'd. I mean, Mark Bagley, Spider Man, very popular, really cool cover. You know, you got and we have two of them. I think I'm featuring both. So
Hmm.
it's a great image. Bagley pencils and inks, so that's unusual on a Spider-Man cover with him. And it's the Chameleon. Of course, the Chameleon was the first Spider-Man villain. Striking cover. Rare example of Bagley doing both pencils and inks. And of course, you've got the signature that that kind of narrow waisted Spider-Man, but really classic Bagley image.
Yeah, no, no. Very, very nice. I like that one a lot.
Yeah,
Well, everybody wants Bagley's Spider-Man artwork, that's for sure. You can get his Thunderbolt stuff very affordably, but Spider-Man stuff, never.
and I'm surprised it's still very affordable.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Now, Frazetta, a very well-known image, right?
yeah,
Paperback cover painting from what is it, '67? But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. When I first discovered Frazetta, it might have been this one, or uh, there's a few images that always kind of come to mind. I think, but for me, this is one of my favorites, just because it's kind of minimalist, right, in its own way, but it's so powerful.
Well, you just I think you just nailed the description perfectly. First of all, it's a striking image. I remember this cover because I sold this for the Frazettas,
Hmm.
and we sold this to Alexander Acevedo for that gallery show that he did back in, was it probably 1994, and then he sold it to someone else, and that person then put it up, and so this is the third person that's owned it. And what I find interesting about this cover is I never really took the time back then. I thought it was, another, I mean, what is this? Conan, Weird World, jungle, obviously this creature. I mean, this is a paperback by Bob Shore, a sci-fi novel in a futuristic planet, like something out of Star Wars.
Hmm.
But this is what Frazetta chooses to do, and you can just imagine his covers were selling so well. They said, do a striking cover for us, something that will attract attention and sell. So here, talk about 60 years later. I mean, here we are still talking about this image that was done for this paperback, which I'm sure a handful of people have read or are familiar with, and yet it's it's a it's a striking image. It really makes you wonder what's going on. And I mean, who thinks of using that color green next to that? Like, what is that? A bile? Is it? It just evokes so many different. Your eye just can't help but look at this thing.
No, I completely agree. I killed a spider that large just the other day in my backyard. Yeah, but uh, tell us, because you did you worked with a lot of artists, but you did have the privilege of working with Frazetta for quite some time. I mean, how did that whole opportunity present itself for you and Nadia?
That was a very weird thing. I had met Frank several times going back to the 70s. And while I was a fan, I wasn't one of these, melt when you see them kind of fans. And then in about 19, I want to say 1990, 1991, I got a phone call from Ellie, his wife, and she said, Frank and I have heard a lot about you and Nadia, and we'd really like you to come out and have a discussion. And I said, well, okay. So we go out to see them, and Frank, Ellie's there and sits down, gets to know us, and then Frank comes into the living room, and and I get up, and he goes, "What are you going? One of those fans that's just going to melt when I shake his hand?" And I said, "What?" I said, "No." I said, "Actually, I'm not that big a fan." He goes, "What? Why not?"
Why are you here?
What are you talking about? And I said, "Well, I said, not for anything, but I said, you sometimes it bothers me when I read about you're talking about how you did these things in 2 hours, how you left a lot of things unfinished, how you didn't bother to do this, how you'd rather be playing baseball, how like art is almost is secondary to you. And I know so many artists who struggle to make a living and would love to, have an ounce of your talent, and yet it's, that kind of thing. And also your subject matter is sometimes a little much for to hang on the wall, all the time. And
Hmm.
so from that moment on, he made it his mission to convince me how great he was. And it couldn't have worked out better, because he then would go into why every painting was great, why he did what he did.
Hmm.
And uh, and then I learned to appreciate. I mean, I will say this, Frank Frazetta literally could paint and draw. He was the artist. He could draw what he saw in his head. Does that mean he didn't, think about it beforehand and maybe come up with the composition? But what he saw in his head, he could do. I saw him. He would start out with this little thumbnail. We've got a nice thumbnail in the sale, and he would just scribble this little pencil and throw a little watercolor on it to just develop a palette. Deciding is it going to be cool tones, warm tones, what's he going to do, and then just from that he would go right to the canvas, and he'd take a brush and attack this 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 board, and he'd be going like this and pushing and and smudging, and his fingers were covered with it, and he'd he'd finish. He'd start at the foot and finish at the top, and there's the perfect figure, all in burnt umber. A three-dimensional, solid. It was more of a sculpture than a painting. And then he'd say, as far as I'm concerned, this is done. Everything else is showing off. So, he'd then go from there, and he'd start adding a little color. But that's why he was so bold with his colors, because he already had the values down, as light, dark, and of course what he started with was a shape. So once he had all of that, he could get away with using any color as long as the values were correct. I mean, look at the colors on that forearm. I mean, you've
Yeah, it's
got,
masterful.
yeah, chartreuse and
Hmm.
oranges. I mean, nobody gets away with doing that.
Nope, but he
Look,
could.
look at that knee. I mean, look at the colors on that knee. You don't think twice when you look at one of his paintings, because the tones just everything works. The values are correct. Yeah.
Well, we could do a whole show on your time with him.
Oh,
One.
I have a million Frazetta stories.
So this one's probably tracking well for those who like to do searches on heritage auctions and look at bids and track people who are tracking and following and all that stuff. But this one's at 110 so far. Probably has a bit of ways to go. Yeah,
Somebody
already.
mentioned it in the chats, and yeah, I mean, there's only one way to describe it. This is a jaw-dropping piece when you look at it. Look at the size. Look at the amount of work that's in this piece.
I agree with Carl too. It you know, for a lot of people, this is the piece in this auction, just because it's ticks all the right boxes. You know, everybody wants a an amazing Art Adams cover in their collection from this era, and you know, for those who have the money to go after it, this is just a great piece to have.
And the Terry Austin inks. I mean, Terry doing nighttime space scenes is unsurpassed,
Hmm.
and it just, I mean, he makes it pop.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
He uses this as a print when he goes to conventions as his backdrop, so that tells you what he thinks of it.
Mm. Right.
Um, and it's the New Mutants charging Asgardian battlefield. Loki and Enchantress are there, hovering over the top, looking like puppet masters. Yeah, it's just a great piece. What am I going to say? It really doesn't need much embellishment.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one we're all going to be waiting for for the live bidding. So you know, but I'm with like number one Marvel fan said it read this one at least like 10 times when it came out, and it's true. I mean, it was a great story, everything you'd want in a book in 1985 if you were, you know, at least for me, a teenager in high school. So no, this was fantastic. So I'll be curious to see where this thing ends up. Certainly, well, many of us will be watching it. And you got
Yeah,
Mohawk Storm period too, which is even better.
yeah,
All right. And then speaking of Thor and Asgard, we got Kirby Everett Thor 171 cover.
yeah. I really like this because it's not Coletta. It's Everett.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 1969. Uh, so you see the difference right away. I mean, first of all, the detail is still in the background;
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't been erased, and the drama, yeah. I mean, it's just quintessential Kirby, and yet it it doesn't quite look like Kirby inked by anybody else. Like you can't say that that's Dick Ayers or Mike Royer or anybody else. It's Bill Everett, who of course is a legend.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. Thor's hair looks a little long, but it's all right. Kind of adds to the adds to the moment in its own weird way. But no, I like this one a lot. Obviously, you know, this is the period of Thor that I love. I mean, especially the covers from this era, or they were all just amazing. I just felt Thor was like the best book at that time, at least for me. But yeah, this is beautiful.
Yeah, no, this is a nice cover. How much is this? Is this at?
It's at 52 and a half, 63 with the buyer's
Yeah,
premium.
it's already still up there, huh? I mean, it's a solid cover. I mean, there was a period of time, um, 7, 8 years ago, Thor just did not sell as well as any of the other characters. Now, right back up, he's right up there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Well,
know if it was the
that's a good one.
movies, but I just think, as you said, if you really go back and look, there was a period there where there was a stretch where Thor was as enjoyable a comic. I mean, I go back even before that. I mean, every single month, a new villain, a new character. I mean, it was great. The Destroyer, the Absorbing Man, all of that, Hercules, on and on and on, and it was relentless. So,
Mhm.
yeah. No, absolutely agree with you. Next.
Next is another Hulk cover,
Yeah.
256. Yeah, this one's kind of, I'm sure has a lot of interest and people following it. Romita Jr. and Al Milgrom. So, yeah, I mean, just a very memorable, classic image, classic story, and Yeah, what are
Well,
you
it's the
gonna say?
first appearance of Sabra
Hmm.
or Sabra, whatever I don't know how you pronounce it quite. Uh, this is her first cover appearance, and she's the first Israeli superhero, and makes her first appearance and first full appearance. She had been in a single panel page prior to this. So this is pretty cool. After this full issue introduction, she'd go on to appear in Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions in 1982, and then the character evolved later in, as another product of the Black Widow Red Room program, in and would be in the new Captain America movie, right? Captain America: Brave New World.
Hmm. Yeah, no, this is beautiful.
Yeah, she's the first Israeli superheroine.
And not afraid to tackle the Hulk.
That's right.
And most people would run screaming. So,
Yeah.
no, where is that one at? 45,
You
54.
might as well start at the top.
Yeah,
Hey, if you're gonna be a
exactly.
super,
Every,
if you're gonna be a super villain, superhero, you might as well start at the top.
yeah, exactly. After Galactus, Hulk is right there. So, you know, I think the only other, what, Dazzler took them all on too, right? So
That's
when she started her book. Um, yeah. All right. So what do we got next? Oh, I love this one. This is was always such a great cover for many
Yeah,
different. This is a striking image, and yeah, this is like post, after the Steranko cover, but this is Marie Severin and Joe Sinnott, which is, I mean, it's, I don't know, I would never think Marie first when I look at it, but certainly Sinnott's inks, make this thing really dramatic and powerful and fall in the Marvel style. But I mean, as a cover, this was colored perfectly, and seeing it here, it's wonderful. I love look I could look at this thing all day. It
yeah.
really brings
I,
me a
I
lot of joy.
and I went. I mean, 1968. I was reading. That was the first run of the X Men, of course, and the X Men did not have good sales.
Hmm.
And I think this may be 1 through 66 basically were for new stories, and then they gave up. They just started reprinting old stories just to keep the basically the title going,
Hmm.
so that they didn't lose the space. But X Men literally fell off the table when it came to sales, and so they had different artists try. Steranko did some. Adams did one. You had Barry Smith, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and
Hmm.
here's
Nobody could
Marie
save it.
Severin. Yeah,
Didn't matter who you brought in. Nobody could fix
yeah.
the title.
When you think of that lineup of people that tried on the X-Men, and it still didn't work, and now they're all considered classics.
Hmm.
Now this one's weird because who's the protagonist here?
Oh, I forgot the name that he was using. I have to go
Uh,
back.
but it's Eric the Red, and
Yeah,
it's Cyclops in costume.
right. Yeah, Eric the Red. You're right. I don't know why I forget that, but there you go.
And but it's your boy.
Yeah, it is. Hey, he was tough. Nobody gives him credit to this day.
He
But
kept trying to prove that they were terrible. He kept trying to make them better and better, I guess. But
yeah, no, I know. But I always like this cover a lot. I probably like the Steranko 50 cover more, but from this kind of window, I mean, I love the Adams covers too. I mean, there was so much eye appeal, on the covers for those books from that year and a half, and again, nothing could save them. But thank goodness they reprinted them, and they finally figured out what to do with the X-Men. But
hey, this could be blasphemy, but that costume. If you told me that Steranko drew this, I would absolutely have believed you. I
mhm,
mean, look at it. The shiny, slick costume. I'm sure ink because of Sinnott's inking, but that's very Steranko-ish. the
Yeah.
weird lines in there and everything else. That's absolutely, Jim. If I would believe it, so I think this is Marie kind of pushing herself because that's not typical of Marie.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's an outstanding cover
Yep.
and prime, you know, um, Marvel history.
Agreed.
We've only auctioned three covers from that run, from 1 to 66
Really?
at Heritage. Yeah,
It's hard to imagine.
I agree. I assume that's correct, but we researched it and that's what we came up with. So yeah. Oh yeah, here's from that Wolverine one book where we sold that cover for so much
Hmm.
money. Here's the big splash inside. John Buscema and Al Williamson, Wolverine one. I mean, come on.
Yeah, what a great image. Yeah. Well, it's Williamson Inks just makes this thing so great.
Yeah.
It's I'll say it's gnarly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's it's what you want out of a rough and tumble Wolverine piece. So Buscema, Williamson, Wolverine one splash. Yeah, that's awesome.
I saw your interview with Fish,
Yeah.
and I found it was you both did a great job, but I was laughing all along when Fish kept saying, I don't know the story. I have no idea what this book's about, but look at that image.
Yeah, no, that's what I told a few people after the show. It's hard to interview a guy who doesn't have a lot of vested interest in the piece, right? It's because he knows the significance and he knows it's a powerful image, and it's just like that's why I own it. And that's okay. I mean, we all have our reasons for owning stuff.
Absolutely, but it just goes to show.
But when you're interviewing somebody, you want to have a story. Why do you love
Sure.
that piece? Well, I love it because I knew it. It's a great piece of art to own. It's wow, on every piece almost, but it was still fun. Tom's, I've known Tom for a long time. I'm sure you have too.
Oh yeah.
He owns what he likes to own, and yeah, we don't all have to like remember that as the first book I read, that I picked up off the newsstand.
I have to laugh when I look at the dialogue because it reminds me my little grandson when they were here one day, and he turns to Nadia and he says, "Hey, hey, Bub, come across with the grub."
Nice.
And we both
He was
what?
working on that one for a while to get that.
Where did he come up
Did it
with
work?
that?
Did she serve him? Or did you give him a smack and said, "Come back, in 30 minutes and ask me nice"?
It was hilarious, and yet this must be where you got it. Talk is cheap, Bub.
Right.
It's a
Yeah, give me
classic
my mashed
retort.
potatoes and gravy. Yeah, exactly. No, but this is a good one. Obviously, it'll be fun to see where this one goes as well. What is it? It's a 28 with the BP.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Neil Adams, Batman page. This
Yeah,
is
again,
a
I
good
just
one.
changing it up, put in Adams. I think this is the first lot of the floor session, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. But the significance here is that this is the first appearance of the modern version of Two Face, uh, and that's him in silhouette there, flipping the coin.
Hmm.
I mean, people might not know he debuted back in Detective Comics '66, which was 1942, but he'd not been seen here since 1954. So they resurrected him in the Silver Age, and of course became a mainstay again. But what a page! I mean, look at that image of Batman. Yeah, classic Adams. Adam
Yeah,
Giordano. I mean, beautiful.
great storytelling. I mean, I love this panel. Just the shadows, very atmospheric.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful, and like Corey said, the coin flip rocks too. Uh,
Well, look at the first panel. That's very typical of Adams loved that cover. What was it Detective Comics 31? That classic Batman hovering over the castle. But that's with the cape and the longer ears, and I mean he's doing an homage there back to that classic cover, and so you get that in the first panel. Really cool.
Wow,
Yeah. And
very
then,
nice piece.
the dramatic faces that only Adams could do. Come on.
Hmm. I'm sure Inks on this one. I mean, they were a good team.
Yeah,
And
Giordano, I mean, he became almost as good as Adams at times. So, yeah, hard to believe Neil's not with us anymore.
yeah, I just had his daughter Chris on last Thursday. She's looking to try to do a Ben Casey book.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I'm sure she'll might be hitting up Heritage for some high res scans here or there if that's if that's possible. I don't know. She has it's not 100% ready to go, but there's enough interest I think that they might go ahead with it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. The scans that are available online are, they're 300 DPI.
hmm.
So, if somebody asks, I've never known Jim to say no. So, yeah.
Well, we had to get a Burn X-Men page in here. This is from issue 126 for
Yeah, I mean, you
Proteus,
could
of
have
course.
argued that this could have been lot number one, two, or three. I mean, with the way these things have been selling, and here you got again that Proteus story, which every that storyline, which is so popular and have been selling for so much money. So you've got another strong page from that sequence, and it doesn't get more classic. Byrne, Austin, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, uh, and you got Proteus in the story, so in the page.
Yeah, nope, it's a good one. I used to have a page from 127. I think I have to go back and look, but yeah, just great storyline. I think we've seen a couple pages from this one in the past. It's just fun having a kind of a horror-based mutant storyline going on Muir Island. I mean, it was very fun. So this one's already at 41. So we know these pages are what they go for.
Yeah,
Then speaking of X-Men, you got a Jim Lee Scott Williams X-Men 277 page.
yeah.
And
Just
I just
to contrast the other one. I mean, look at that page. Look at that panel.
yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, you get and it's an end page too. So
Well, I mean, look what you had just mentioned, the battle at Muir Island,
hmm.
right at the bottom of that page.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that from that line. It's a good one though. I mean, you
Yeah,
get the Shadow King in it as well. I mean,
yeah.
this is great. And yeah, anybody who's a Jim Lee purist would likes to have a piece from his Uncanny run.
Yeah. I mean, this page really, like you say, the Shadow King possesses Colossus, and this sets up the stage for the plot over the next 5 issues. So this becomes really a very popular storyline in the history of the book with Jim Lee.
Wow. Yeah. No,
Ultimately unites the scattered X-Men and X Factor, and then leads to Jim Lee's X-Men #1. So, this is the lead up to the best-selling comic book of all time.
that Tom Fish has the cover too.
Yeah.
uh, yeah. No, it's a great image. And then we have this Kevin Eastman Ninja Turtle 7 cover from 1986.
Now look at the amount of work here, and the significance of this is when prior to this, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was black and white, and this began the color in the title. So Kevin did this beautiful painting as a wraparound cover to launch color in the book, which of course to them was such a big deal at the time.
Yeah, this is cool.
You have all four turtles. You got Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello battling their way in an all-out brawl.
Yeah, this
And you also have Fugitoid caught in
mhm.
the fray.
This is an indie book for the 80s, right? I mean, at
Oh
the end of
yeah.
the day, I mean, it's I I was a hard convert. I didn't buy the first few issues because I was like, it doesn't look right, But all my friends were reading it, who went to the comic shop that I went to, so I was kind of forced into reading Ninja Turtles after a while. But yeah, this is awesome. I love this image.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not buy in at the beginning because it seemed to me just from the title that
A
it was
joke,
just a ripoff of 20 books. You know what I
right?
mean?
Right, of
Everything
course.
that was popular at the time, every thrown in together to try and come up with something.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
I remember being at San Diego in, I don't even remember the year, but it had to be 80. Well, when the Turtles 1 came out, it was prior to Turtle 1 coming out. And Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman was set up next to me. And they had these two cutout displays that were, that they created, standees. And I was there with a friend who was going to open a comic store. And Kevin comes over. He says, "What do you think?" And
Get
what am
used
I going to
to it.
say? I mean, a very different looking Kevin Eastman
Hmm.
that I come to know later, and but he was the nicest guy in the world because he was such a fan of Jack Kirby and I mean Frazetta and everybody else. So that's what he wanted to talk about,
Of course.
and
Well, he
they're
was a
there.
big art collector
Oh yeah,
back in the day,
yeah.
so he
Not
could.
at that point. He was broke at that point. After he made money
It
with the
wasn't until the
turtles.
Turtles started making him some money, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to get him on for an interview, like a collector interview. We could do, the art that Kevin used to own. That would be, that would probably be like 2 or 3 shows where you could just
Oh
focus
yeah, he
on pieces
had the
that pass
museum.
through his hands.
Absolutely. Yeah. And but yeah, I mean, my he ended up my the guy I was with bought those standees and tried to get him on the plane and had a big argument. At this is before
He had to buy a seat
TSA.
for him, right? Or,
Well, because he didn't want to bend them, and then they would
right.
not let him on the plane, so he had to slice it in the middle to fold it in half.
Hmm.
So it was very funny. I was yeah, I don't know the guy. I have nothing to do with this. If you arrest him, that's fine
Hmm.
with me.
Right. Oh man. Uh, what do we got here? We got a Watchmen 3
Watchmen.
page. Yeah,
Uh,
Gibbons.
I think we have 3 pages from Watchmen in this book in this auction, and 2 consecutive pages from here. And you don't see Doctor Manhattan in many pages that have come on the market. So you have Night Owl, Silk Spectre, both out of costume, and Doctor Manhattan in the middle of it all. So I mean, Watchmen is Watchmen. You know.
Yeah, no, this is a great moment in the run, I think. But I didn't realize there were a couple other pages. I'll have to go back and check that out. I didn't get to do the full preview of everything in the auction yet.
Well, it should be in the header there. It might show the consecutive. Are you? Yeah, right up there. See that?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, another page from issue 3, and another one from 3. Okay, so you get 3 from 3.
Yeah.
Oh, was that consecutives, right? Yeah, 14 and 15. Okay. I
Yeah.
did see
Cool.
this one earlier. Yeah, that's well, that's cool. So you got 4 pages from Watchmen.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah. And a nice crazy cat.
I was gonna say,
I
and a
didn't
crazy
even
cat. You didn't
I
pick this one.
didn't even include the crazy cat. We have too much stuff to
Yeah,
include in this sale.
that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful
Uh,
large panel.
oh, here you go. Wally Wood, Daredevil, and you get Stiltman as well. I mean, one of Daredevil's most memorable villains is Stiltman, but only because he was such an interesting character to draw in a cityscape. I think so many artists took different approaches to Stiltman, but a nice early page with them in this one.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I mean, Wally, of course, had redesigned the costume. We again, I only chose to. We have three great wood Daredevil pages, never on the market before, and two pages from Astonishing Tales,
Hmm.
never on the market before. So if you go up, you'll see the other pages. I think maybe two of them are from number 8, and then the other might be from number 5 or 6. Yeah, what issue is that?
That's 6 right there. Yeah.
6. Yeah, look at that battle page in the other costume.
Yeah, that's
You
nice.
know that you have an embarrassment of riches when you can't talk about multiple pages of Hollywood Daredevil and Watchmen. And I mean, look at that. Look at that
Yeah,
astonishing tale.
that's a great page right there. Red Skull.
Yeah.
Boom. Wow. That is amazing right there. That's great. Astonishing Tales 4. Wow.
And then we have
Okay.
another one.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Maybe even better. All
Yeah.
Doom in that one.
They're great. I mean, you got to go through this sale. It's spectacular.
All right. So Wrightson. Can't we can't do one of these without a Wrightson.
And a great Wrightson. Another one, never on the market. This is the front cover, front inside cover. As Eerie, and always had this great illustration inside
Hmm.
when you open their book. And this is Wrightson, absolutely prime period, doing when he's doing Frankenstein. And because the page, in Erie is not going to be colored, they were produced in black and white. He could go to town. I mean, look at that background.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wonder how it printed, Was it able to hold up and show all the line work? Probably not, but yeah, no, it's beautiful.
And it's cousin Erie, who
Mhm.
is the person in Creepy. Oh, I should say Eerie, not Creepy. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
work. Look at the folds on that guy's knees, and
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
God,
incredible.
the skulls, everything.
And you did have a couple other Wrightsons too, I think, right?
Oh
Yeah, there
yeah,
we go.
yeah,
So there's the Swamp Thing that Noel was mentioning is a really nice. Yeah, that's a great one.
yeah. And
Wow.
we've got a great Swamp Thing cover.
Yep. There's a lot of good art in this auction.
15, and you know what? If that was a Frankenstein plate, that might probably go 6 figures. This is only $15,000 because it's a Warren. I
Right.
mean, Warren is as important as anything in the history of comics back then. As far as bringing in top talent.
Hmm.
So, I think that's an opportunity if you're looking to get something great.
Now, what do
There
we
you
got here?
go.
Lee Elias.
$65,000 for a Lee Elias cover already. Tomb of Terror.
That's beauty. Everybody knows I love Lee Elias's work. I think his horror work's great. I love his war stories work even more. I guess I could take a few other things that he worked on,
The
but no,
Black
this
Cat.
Black
He
Cat
was,
would be great, and it's still
yeah,
affordable. If you look
yeah.
at from that era, I'm kind of surprised. Something that's as old as that, Elias at his in his prime period, and it's hero related, and it's still affordable.
He could do it all. Is really what it comes down to. He could do horror. He could do the
Hmm.
Black Cat. He could do war. I mean, these are not easy subjects.
Exactly, but this is a great piece.
Yeah,
You gotta have your at least one skull in a cover like this. I guess you get two, sort of. Yeah, number one
and
Marvel
and
fans
he's like, he's
too.
not quite a skeleton. He's more of a zombie. Is he more of a zombie or is he
I'd
more of
say
a
he's more of a
skeleton?
zombie. Yeah, he's yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Death is for sale here, and there are plenty of buyers. Yeah, that's great. And like you said, it's already at 65, 78 with the BP.
Never been at auction before. Very in and not a lot of those were in great condition. That's in great condition.
Yeah, that was solid. Was that from Rogers? I didn't read the description on it.
I didn't make a note of it, but
It could
I
have
would
been.
think it is.
Yeah. Let's see.
Here's a page from X-Men 139, first
Yeah.
appearance of Kitty Pryde in costume. So this is the first time at all that she appears in costume. Period.
And yeah, that's awesome. Uh, yeah, this is like right at the end of Burns' run, of course, but these are still fun. Everything was the art was really refined. Very nice.
And also, is Wolverine in there in his old costume? The brown or the new
Brown.
the brown and tan
Brown.
costume.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is only that's only the second story page that features him in that costume.
Well, he always helped the elf from getting hurt there.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that again, anything like that's going to be interest to the X-Men Byrne fans.
$43,000 and still running.
Yeah, but then you have a Journey into Mystery 84 page with Thor on it.
Second appearance of Thor ever, and him in action. I mean, he's riding an airplane, I think, in the last panel, or he's smashing the airplane in the last
I
panel.
don't know, I'd say he's riding it.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's great though. I mean, come on.
What a great page.
I love it. I do. No, this is wonderful.
Now, how much is this page?
This is 22 right now.
Half of what the previous page.
Yeah.
And we just talked about how Thor is hot, but not the early, Jack Kirby classic Thor. I mean,
nope, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Dick Ayers inks on this one as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's all I need is Thor to get hot now, and then I I'll have to change to some. I'll start collecting Stingray art. Stingray. Let's see that. So Barry Windsor Smith, we just mentioned him. This is from MCP 73, Wolverine storyline, of course.
Just become so iconic, that Weapon X storyline by Barry. I mean, it's just everybody. I mean, you look at it. You look at these pages. They're unbelievable, the amount of work he did in. And this is one of the great pages. After Logan is attacked, shot, captured, and taken to Weapon X, Dr. Cornelius and Carol Hines and the professor observes Logan's healing factor for the first time. This is a key page from the storyline, and it reveals how Wolverine acquired his adamantium skeleton. And that's the money shot right there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful page. I love the lighting in that second panel on the doctor. I mean, this is great. Yeah, fantastic piece.
Yep.
Hey, some Brian Boland as well from 2000 AD Judge Dredd cover.
Yeah, I featured this because this is only the third Brian Boland cover on 2000 AD. Yeah, it's amazing how many creators got their start and cut their teeth on this title. And how many of the writers, Alan Moore and all the rest of them all worked on this. And Brian Boland doing Judge Dredd, of course, is iconic. And the funny part about this is that's the Jolly Green Giant of television commercials. and it was a trademark mascot. So this became very controversial because they got sued over this, and it prevented them from ever reprinting this as they did so often with Judge Dredd titles for nearly 40 years.
Oh yeah, no, I remember this one. Yeah, but I didn't realize it was his third cover for them.
Yeah.
So oh, that's awesome. Mr. Moore in the chat, I'm sure is if at least I saw Matt earlier. He's probably tracking this one. He's a big fan of Brian's work, so nice to see.
Yeah. Well, just changing things up.
Yeah. Then Man of Steel 19th page with Doomsday and Superman. What a great fight scene this thing is, right?
I mean, look at this.
You're not going to get a better one than that, probably.
I mean, come on. You look at this, you can't help but laugh. It's so
Yeah,
stunning.
his rampage ends here, even if it kills me. Right. So
And this mirrors the cover of the issue, so you're getting a brutal, no holds barred battle between the Man of Steel and Doomsday.
yeah, no, it's phenomenal, and it's obviously doing really well. 32 already, and this one's okay. Let me see. Is this a Friday piece or when? I would imagine.
What's the number? The lot.
Where is the lot number? 05. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that'll be a good one to watch. Oh, and it's the end page too. Continued. Okay, I didn't even realize that. So it's so page 22. Yeah, it says continued in Superman, the next issue.
Yeah.
Cool. Zach Beatty, Captain America.
This is a shout out. Before you say it, I'll say it. It's a shout out to Alberto.
Yes, Alberto's. I haven't got all the particulars yet, but he's he's got a Grail coming his way sometime soon. I don't know. Well, we won't know. We're hoping to do an unboxing with him once it's in hand, or at the very least film it. Because what could be a Grail for a guy like Alberto? I mean, I have no idea, but it'll be interesting when we all get to see it. But this is a great set cover, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and what issue was it again? I missed it when I loaded this thing up.
324?
Issue 324. Yep.
Yeah. You got the Trapster, you got Whirlwind, classic Zek cover. Really nice composition. I love the way he's got that, that kind of Z kind of look to it. And, drawing your attention up. Beautiful shading, outlining the whole right side. That's what leads your eye up. Really, he was outstanding at composition.
Alex Garcia says he wishes we didn't show this one. Yep, that's how it goes. We gotta appreciate all the artwork, Alex.
You see, you can't make anybody happy if you show just the highlights. If
you're the consigner, you're happy. If you're
everything,
interested,
right?
You're maybe not as happy. We go through this every Thursday when we preview the Wednesday auctions, and they're like, "Oh, I wish you wouldn't have shown that one." That's half the fun, though. But this is great, and the interesting part, I see it was signed by John, so this would have been a cover that went back to John versus going to Mike, and sold from the inker. We know they usually they get a third of the work typically, so that meant a third of the covers too. So a little bit of interest there, right? Because it's not signed anywhere else by Mike, so just John.
Yeah.
And we were looking at Jim Lee earlier with Williams Inc.
Look at this image.
Galactus FF. Yeah.
Look at this image.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Incredible.
I mean, he really captures the magnitude of Galactus.
Yeah, so nice. I mean, just going between, the way they're handling the inks on the outer space, and then just going in here the inking that we're so used to from Scott over Jim's pencils. It just makes for a really beautiful piece.
I mean, Scott did a masterful job here. Listen, this is, I mean, in my opinion, Jim was trying to really create that, you know, mammoth scale. You could tell with the foreshortening of the arm and the upward look of the character and everything else, and he nailed it. He nailed it. I mean, making the surfer that tiny. Uh, I mean, you get this tremendous dramatic image, an incredible splash.
Yeah, well, 20,000 with the buyer's premium already too.
Well, I think that's to me. I thought that was a little cheap, but we'll see.
We will see. It's lot 25.
Especially with the upcoming movie, we'll see if
Hmm.
that's still driving demand.
We will see.
Yeah.
Alex asked if it was on Heritage a few years ago. I don't remember it, Alex, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't. I mean, things are cyclical sometimes. You get pieces that come back every so often.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's the lifeblood of. Well, I used to love, if I sold a piece as a dealer, and then somebody wanted, was good enough to offer it back to me, and then I could sell it a second time or a third time and a fourth time. What could be better than that? And then four different people get to enjoy it,
Mhm.
and in a rising market, everybody making money along the way. Nothing better than that.
No, you get this index cover, wraparound cover
Yeah,
with
but what a classic Daredevil Elektra cover. You don't get that many opportunities.
hmm
Um, and you also get the Black Widow, Black Panther, Dazzler, Black Goliath, and the Human Fly on the other side. Beautiful cover. I mean, this is 1982. You
yeah,
know, Miller began in Daredevil in 1979. So, this is, you know, peak period.
it is very nice. With Joe Rubenstein inks. Yep.
Yeah. And hand lettered logo on there.
hmm
I mean, what a great piece to put up on the wall.
Yeah. Well, we know the consigner. They're sharing it a lot on Facebook of late. I know that. I think when I did my interview with him, this was one of the pieces that we talked about from his collection. It's just a great.
Oh,
I mean, if you can imagine, I mean, when you own a piece like this, that would be a prize in your collection.
nice piece. Happy to be able to offer it.
All
Another
right.
another classic image that again used for it's almost a synopsis of the whole character is the this was done for the Rocketeer trade paperback cover,
hmm
1996, full color painting with the Rocket Cliff in costume, wearing the helmet in front of his plane, and it's got everything.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Beautiful.
a painted piece, by Stevens and of the Rocketeer. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know how critical he was of his own work. I mean, I can only imagine when you get to doing color work.
Oh,
Which is why there isn't a lot of it out there, right?
yeah. No, he never finished anything.
hmm Yeah, this is beautiful, and that's it. Yeah, I figured around 25 with the buyer's premium.
Yeah. No, that's another beautiful opportunity because you put that. I mean, you put that up on the wall. It's a finished piece,
Yep,
just like this is.
yep.
Unfortunately, this has an interesting story to it. So this fantastic piece was penciled, inked, and painted by Barry. He titled the piece "Conan of Cimmeria," and it was one
Samaria.
of the most amazing artworks he ever created. So I when we got the piece in, we noticed it looks different than the published piece. This was used for his portfolio, and so I I'm friends with Barry. I reached out to him and I said, "Hey Barry, was this the way it looked and it was enhanced when it was published, or has this faded? Well, I mean, what's the story?" Man, he gave me this whole log. He was outraged. I sold that piece. That was one of the greatest pieces I did. I always considered that my definitive image of Conan. I sold it with the understanding that the person would, put that up on the wall, and that they would take care of it. That would they would do everything possible to, on and on and on. And he says, this is just a travesty, and he was just so angry that, and yet, that's because he's such a perfectionist. I mean, it's all there. It just faded a little bit, but it's all there. He considers this. His words about this was Frank Frazetta classicized his vision of Conan with his cover of The Adventurer. I did mine with this saga cover. So I consider this work my definitive Conan. I mean, that's saying a lot.
Hmm. Well, but it frustrated him to see it up for auction. That's unfortunate.
Not that it was up for auction so much as the way the guy took care of it.
Oh,
That
that
was the
that
problem.
was the thing that
He
bothered him
didn't
even more.
problem. He doesn't have a problem with
He
me
doesn't.
auctioning it. No.
Well, that's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Well, it is a beautiful piece, though. I mean, that's and it's nice to know you can have a call with Barry whenever you want.
I wouldn't quite say that. I might ask him something. I might not hear back for a while, but that's Barry. But yes, he's very nice. I've known him for a very long time.
Cool. Well, that one's 21 as well, so 25. The BP. Then you get this is all beautiful Bill Sienkiewicz Daredevil Electra cover. I mean,
Yeah, maybe not the most expensive item in the sale, but this, I mean, Sienkiewicz is super hot, Daredevil super hot, Elektra super hot. You got everything, and it's a full color painting. It was used for a poster. I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah, that's so nice. 2016 too. So but it has a feel, the way he's kind of doing a lot of the line work in there, a little bit more vintage Bill,
Yeah,
but I'm sure he was very into this piece.
very
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, and that one's at 8.
Yeah,
Then Magnola. Oh, from Dark Horse Presents, 89. Okay. So early, and boy, yeah, this is see consecutive pages.
yeah.
So nice. Wow.
2-page sequence.
That's that's incredible.
Beautiful.
We look at a lot of Magnola artwork on the channel, as everybody knows. This is great. This is the period where where I think if Chris Norrick was here, he would say, "I love this period because Hellboy still has shoulders." You know, because how Mike kind of starts, you start losing his shoulders at some point. But at this
He
point, he
starts
was
to suggest things because he's doing the ultra
he's
film noir.
exactly. But no, gosh, that first panel is just phenomenal. Just with the architecture in the background, and I mean, I even love that last panel. I mean, Hellboy looks demonic in it.
Yeah.
A lot of times he kind of just looked like kind of a friendly demon. Like maybe in that one with the where you can see his goatee really well. But over here, you don't want to mess around with him.
Yeah.
You don't want to meet him. But yeah, that's nice. What do we at 97.50 for a pair of Dark Horse Presents Hellboy pages
That's a good deal.
for the moment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lot
Yeah.
27. So that'll be on Friday as well.
Yeah.
Then Todd McFarlane, not too bad here. Wolverine story page from Spider-Man 10.
Yeah. I had to include it McFarlane doing Wolverine. Really nice page. He faces down Wendigo.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, 10 on that one right now too.
I mean, he didn't do Wolverine often, but when he did, I mean, people really liked it. If you go up, we have another couple of McFarlane pages, as I recall, that are really.
Let's see why. Oh, they're not. Oh, probably
Yeah,
because
they're
they're in
not.
the
The other ones aren't in the platinum session. Yeah,
right. Yeah, I'd have to search those out. But
that's okay. Don't worry. I mean, people should check it out. They're really cool pages.
mhm.
Oh, the next one's a really cool lot.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this is nice. This is Yates 84 Swamp Thing cover.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at that. That's the line work on this piece alone. The weight changes with the pen work. I mean, this is beautiful. Wow, look at that. Yeah.
he's such a nice guy, Tom Yates, too. I knew him when way in the beginning, and he's just a great guy. Uh,
Never met
this
him.
this is very interesting because what people might not know is although Wrightson's run and everything else was great, sales weren't that good on this title.
Hmm.
So then DC brings in Alan Moore, and they put him on the title. And this is on the first book. He just did a whatever, but this book he retold the origin and recreated the character. Period. So this is his second issue in 1984, and the story didn't just retell Swamp Thing's origin; it reinvented the character, and it really changed what Swamp Thing was into the whole house. That's why the cover harkens back to like House of Mystery, and it's much
Hmm.
more of a horror, um, gothic kind of character. And then he uses the title to revitalize DC's neglected magical and supernatural characters, which of course he had an affinity for, including the Spectre, the Demon, the Phantom Stranger, Dead Man, and then later he introduces John Constantine.
Hmm.
So, I mean, when you think of what all of that was after the initial run and it was reinvented and it began right here in this title. So, this is one of the most memorable covers from the 1980s for sure, and then has gone on to become one of the most important books.
Alan's he's been blessed to work with some incredible illustrators over his career. I mean, yeah, Yates' work on this cover is phenomenal. I love it. And you're
Yeah,
right, harking back to like an EC kind of vibe with the way not just in the line work, but yeah, really the mood and the lighting on this piece is straight out of that era.
yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. It's very rare that it used to be rare that a writer would influence the price of something. But in the case of Alan Moore or Gaiman or people like that, I mean, come on, it's The Watcher, V for Vendetta, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and they've all translated into full media projects as well. It's incredible.
All right, then Dave Cockrum,
Yeah.
classic Ms. Marvel cover, issue 18.
So this is the first appearance of Mystique as Raven Darkholme. This is her second appearance overall, but it was her first appearance in her Raven form.
This is all Cockrum, right? It's his inks on this one
Yep.
too.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and she's surrounded by Wonder Man, the Vision, Scarlet Witch, Yellow Jacket, the Wasp.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, a lot of first appearances in this selection, a lot of origins. Great. It is going to go down as one of those memorable Sales.
Well, I'm gonna be watching it live, like a lot of others. And back to Kirby Airs here, an FF-17 interior. Plenty of Doom on this one.
Yeah, that's the reason I featured it. Doctor Doom, one of the great, comeback quote unquote stories. Doctor Doom was thought to be dead, and here we find out how he saved himself. And this is the story of how Doctor Doom escaped and comes back. Classic, early 1963 Marvel, prime period, prime villain.
Yeah, no, this is really really cool. And I mean, you don't see it too many FF real early pages. So from 17, get the thing looking lumpy like in this as well. I mean, it's
Yeah,
awesome, and it is all flashback, but it's a fun flashback. Them kind of telling their own story, panel to panel.
yeah. It's a.
I like
I,
that.
I don't want to call it a re-origin, but it's a you know, resurrection page.
No, that's very nice, and it's at 14 right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep it going. This page,
Yeah.
here's an interesting one I included because I often think, if we talked about Adams, but he's very underrated as a colorist. If you go back and look at his covers, those Savage Sword of
I say
Conan.
the Conan covers, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, the things that he did in color. I mean, he was a master of watercolor. I mean, I mean, look at that. Hey, here's a guy who didn't. It's one thing to do something every day. You talk about Frazetta. Sometimes I'd ask Frazetta if he could. Why didn't he ink this particular piece? He goes, "Oh, I have to practice to get back into the mode to be able to do that. And, that would take a while. I don't know if I could even go back and do it exactly the way I once did. Uh, it, so here's Adam just picking up a brush, and next thing you know, he's painting like this. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Look at the figure work in the background.
Yeah, I like that it's you know penciled, and he's just kind of messing around with it, but then the figure in the foreground is all paint. I mean, that's nice. Is it published? I don't know. It doesn't look like it's finished completely, but I don't know. Was it published? It says it's
It's
in the
it's
70s.
unidentified as it was. Later, I think it was used in his. He published one of his sketchbook, and
Hmm.
this was one of the pieces, if not the cover. Yeah, it
Very
was the
cool.
cover for the Adams 2015 sketchbook.
Got it. Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, cool piece. I mean, great. Yeah, for those. Yeah, we used to get into those arguments all the time with people. People, oh, I don't collect the stories. I'm not. I don't collect nostalgia. I collect art. I collect the fine art. I always take that with a grain of salt. That the art has no
Oh,
context whatsoever. Um, if that's the case, you could buy a lot of lesser artists and a lot of pages that don't
that
have
are really good.
heroes
Right?
on them or anything else. Um, if that's what it's all about, so it's got to have a little of everything.
Yeah.
One day we should have a thing on. I had to, for the purpose of doing appraisals, come up with the value factors things that affect the value of art. Because if you're ever put in front of the IRS or a court, you
Hmm.
have to justify why
Oh, of course.
something is worth what it's worth. People think, oh, it's a Dicko page. So all Dicko, every Dicko page is worth the same. Doesn't matter. Oh, so
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's the first appearance of somebody. Does it matter if it's the first, if it's an origin? Does it matter if Spider-Man's in it? In costume? Does it matter if he's on every? Does it matter if it's a splash page? So context, content, aesthetics. I mean, there are 10 factors that affect the value of art, and you can quantify that in and looking, and that's how you really appraise a page. And that's
Hmm.
when people ask me, how do I come up with an estimated value? You got to look at all of that. Now, most of us do it without thinking after X period of time. But try doing it in fields or with characters or things you don't know. You have to be able to do it objectively across the board.
Hmm.
So that's a very interesting discussion.
We should do that sometime.
Sure.
Be a fun segment to go over. We could, Dino has his rules on, whether, something it meets all the criteria for him to want to buy it. And, and
Yeah,
it's always like,
his is
we'll
more
fit.
like the number of he's paying by the number of characters on the
Yeah,
page.
I wish I don't have my flashcards in front of
Yeah,
me. He calls it the Falcon, but I can't remember. I know F is full figure. He has like this
yeah,
whole methodology, but it's fun, and but that all that plays into it. And then you have to take into account, like you said, uh you know the relevance of the story that the art's from, the characters on the page, are they in costume, all that stuff. There's so many factors. It is subjective. I mean, but at the
and
end of the day.
crossover appeal. People don't
Hmm.
think of that. If you have Spider-Man in a Fantastic Four page, it's worth more. If you have, vice versa,
Sure.
because you get people from different collecting
Full
wanting,
frontal.
yeah. So you're increase. As we said with Frazetta, if it's got a Babe and it's a Barbarian and it's Burroughs, you
Hmm.
got three different complete factions all competing for the same piece. That painting, by the way, is going to go very reasonably because it doesn't have. There's some people only collect the beautiful girl on a Frazetta, and they want Burroughs on a
Hmm.
Frazetta. So you get it more of an opportunity. So there's a classic example of that dynamic in effect.
Yeah.
Next,
Next, yeah. So where are we
David
talking?
Mazzucchelli,
Yeah, this one's already at 33.
or I take it back. He pronounces it Mazzucchelli.
Mazzucchelli. Yes.
Yeah.
Now this one's almost at 40,000 with the buyer's premium on it already.
Yeah.
How about that?
Amazing. And that's why I had to include it. I went back and I'm looking through the top lots and I'm saying, why? Well, I got to include this. It just continues to amaze how hot Daredevil is. Anything Daredevil by just about any of the better artists. And of course, but this is the first appearance issue of Nuke. He made his first appearance ever, just 3 pages earlier than this, and he accepts the Kingpin's business proposition. Um, and this is part of the Born Again storyline.
No
Uh,
Daredevil on the page.
yeah, I mean, amazing that the price is like that. I mean, it's just it is what it is.
Hmm.
Oh, I promised I wouldn't say that, and there I just did.
Well, again, this will be an interesting one to see where it goes.
Yeah,
But I mean, anything by Mazzucchelli from the Born Again run is always of interest to art collectors. I mean, this is a sweet spot, great storyline, but from a period of buying the books off the shelves, I mean, a lot of collectors are of that age where this is something they were picking up at the comic shop. I mean, it's very influential, and so and important to a lot of people.
yeah.
Let's see.
Holy
Next up.
smokes! My thing wasn't scrolling by itself. There's a lot of comments here.
Yeah, there's people are talking. Definitely.
Yeah.
There, we always have a lot of people tuning. Yeah, there's 63 people watching right now. I hope everybody who is watching has hit the thumbs up so we can keep the YouTube gods happy, and maybe get a few other people to kind of stumble into here by you encouraging other people to do that. But thumbs up do help with that. So what do we got here? Gene Colan, Esposito, and it's Marvel Superheroes story page. Let me zoom in on
And
this.
again, Guardians of the Galaxy first appearance issue. So
Yeah.
you get a page from the first appearance of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the last page of the group's first appearance, and it was the only group shot of the team in the issue. And it's the first and only time in the story that they were referred to as the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's a nice page. And an end page.
Again, historic. Again, context. People say, oh, well, No, I just collect it for the art. Then this page wouldn't be worth anything.
No, it wouldn't, right? Exactly.
I mean, it's really, if you showed me this page, would you think that's Gene Colan?
No, no. I
Absolutely
mean,
not.
it's just from the page layout. I mean, I don't know. In a weird way, if you, it's the inking that makes it feel not Colin. If I look at it, Colin did a lot of inset panels where, with hands and things like that. But you're right. I mean, no. I mean, the way the inking is done on it, it doesn't scream Colin to me at all. So,
No.
oh well.
And he didn't
What are you
do a
gonna
lot
do?
of three-quarter shots like at the bottom there either.
Hmm.
But he needed to because they needed to have the whole group and everything else.
Yeah. Well, hey, first appearances are a thing. We're,
Yep.
we're,
Speaking of which, we have Al Milgrom, Joe Sinnott, Guardians cover next.
wow. Yeah. For me, Milgram was, yeah, he was a workhorse. When this is like the era when was really buying the books, at the drugstore because I couldn't go to a comic shop, still too young. But seeing Milgram's art, for me, it's nostalgic. It's not like he's, a top 20 career artist, but he did so much work and he got to work on so many different titles. He got to work with so many, as an inker, he got to work with lots of pencilers and vice versa.
Absolutely.
What a career.
We talked about it before. He's part of that Detroit school that came
Mm,
in. Rich Buckler, Terry Austin, Jim Starlin, all of those guys went to school together and knew each other, and they
mhm.
followed each other into to New York. Uh, and I think that if you go up to the top, I think we have 5 Milgram covers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know if it,
yeah.
again
Well,
they're not all here, but if
oh yeah,
there's another one. Yeah,
that's a good
a
one.
Marvel 2-in-1.
Or team
Uh,
up. Yeah,
yeah, Defenders, is that Milgram? Yep.
that is as well.
Yeah.
And another
Yeah.
Avengers. What is this? Annual 11? Yeah. What do we got? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, fun. A Spider-Man cover that I might even be interested in.
And again, new to the market. So I think I
Cool.
actually feature the Avengers cover next. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. This is the king size annual 11 cover.
Yeah, and the reason I did is that Silver Surfer is super hot as well. People love anything with the surfer on it, and he's there featured right at the top. And this is the Avengers against the Defenders. I mean, come on.
Bonus.
Iron Man takes on the Silver Surfer. Thor squares off against Valkyrie. The Beast bouncing off the shield of Captain America.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
cool cover.
so that's not on Friday. It's slot 136.
Well, what you have to look at is it 9/2.
It's 9/2. So
Yeah,
is it a
so
it, it
that
is the
is
first
on the
day?
first day. Yeah,
Okay. So 9/2. So what is it? I always thought
nine
it was.
four is so 9/1
Oh,
is the first day. 9/2
yep.
is the second. 9/3 is the third.
Got it.
9/4 is the fourth.
All right. Well, another one to watch on the first day.
Hmm.
Charles Schultz Sunday.
Yeah, we always have some great selections. I rarely include them because it's almost a given, even though they
Mm.
go for a lot of money. But read the gag. It's great. This one you have to read.
Yeah. Yep.
How
For an art
many
collector.
comic collectors, illustration collectors have heard, yeah, but is it art?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. That is fun.
Nothing said in the whole Sunday except, but is it art?
I'm sure Schultz had heard that a few times in his career.
Uh-huh.
And what year is this from? Oh, 58. I knew
1958.
I could
So
tell
this
it
is
was older, but
early. Yep, early, and yet the characters look like they're supposed to. And you
hmm
have Snoopy on top of the piano. Come on,
nothing wrong with that at all.
yeah.
All right. So we got about
There's the other
10.
Mark Bagley cover, Spider-Man and Nova.
Oh, Emberlyn inks on this one.
Yeah, really good cover, really dynamic.
Yeah. A little bit of Zipatone.
Yeah, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but
No, but hey, it's at 15 and a half already. So, I mean, like you say, I mean, it's the Bagley effect on a cover. So, and and hey, it's from the run, from
yeah,
Amazing
a
Spider-Man.
lot of covers, a lot of great art. I mean,
Mhm.
it's an embarrassment of riches, as I said.
Yeah, this is yeah, it's gonna be a fun day, fun
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
What do we got here? This is from FF Annual 3, Kirby and Coletta.
And if you remember, FF Annual 3 was
Yeah.
when, Reed and Sue got married.
hmm
And here's Doctor Doom. So this is the splash, the page one splash of FF Annual 3 in the classic where Reed and Sue get married. And of course, all heck breaks loose.
As it should. No, this is awesome. I love this. That is a good one. And again, title pages are always fun. This is a great one. And it's at 15 with the BP.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ditko earlier. This is it's not Spider-Man, so it's not going to be $100,000 early Ditko piece from that title, but you get a Creeper first appearance piece here, Showcase 73.
Exactly. And not only is it the Creeper's first appearance and Dicko going over to DC there, but look at the action in this page. I mean, every panel, bang to bang to bang to bang to bang.
Yeah, this is a really nice page.
I mean, he was really giving it his all, trying to make this successful.
Yeah, the whole series of panels are great. Those last two are fun. The way he's handling the shadow on the floor. I mean, this is yeah, I love this one. Great Ditko magic, says CJ. I agree. Let's see, what do we got here? A Sandman page. What do we got? It's Dringenberg, right?
Yeah, Malcolm Jones, Sandman 22. So you have Delirium's first appearance as Destiny summons the Endless for a rare family reunion. And the Sandman joins Death, Desire, and Despair. You got a lot of stuff going on in this page as far as storyline and characters, and it's beautifully laid out.
Yeah. No, Mike's work on this one is just phenomenal. I mean, it just was very well suited for the book.
I mean, look at that. That looks like real leather. I mean, that's beautifully penciled and inked, that first
hmm
panel. Beautiful.
Agreed. And what do we at? It's just over 6.
Yeah. And, it seems price come down a little bit. I mean, they were going for, $60,000 a page, without blinking an eye.
Yes, indeed.
And
So,
here's a page from Dark Knight 1. I mean, you got to include, a Dark Knight 1 page when you have it. So this is from the Mandel collection. And this one really features more of the logo and, the way all during that book, Miller
mhm.
used the television news as a way of explaining what was going on in the story. A very innovative technique. Here's a good example of that.
Yeah, it's just over 18 as well. Mandel's still got pieces coming in, huh?
Yep. Not at the same pace. He's caught up. He's gotten some of the pieces he wanted.
Now this one's striking. Infinity Gauntlet 5 cover, Lim pencils with Perez inks on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a fan of the Infinity Gauntlet at all, and the storylines, I mean, this is a cover to add to your collection from issue 5. Wow.
You got the Kirby crackles around the Celestials. You got Kronos, Lord Chaos, Galactus, Mistress Love, The Stranger, Master Order, Sire Hate, all on this stunning cover. And there they are facing off with Thanos.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Number one Marvel fan says he wants it so bad he could cry. Some covers can, reduce us to tears, Tom. That is for sure. But yeah, I think this is beautiful. I mean, come on, when you get Perez inks over anybody, they're going to be cool. But with Limbs, I mean, that's just all the better.
Yeah, I mean, how unusual! I would have thought, a cover that busy, Perez would have penciled.
Would have been the other way around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now I look at this and I do think Gene Colan, so I don't even have to look at the title. But yes, Marvel Superheroes as again the title here. But this time, yeah, this is gorgeous though. I mean, boy, just compositionally a little different for Gene, but boy, I like the way the first two panels are done.
Well, he did that.
I like that.
What I always think of him is he does this, especially in that last panel, the extended body. Like when you think of Gene, you think of Daredevil, and he's always super extended. He's longer than the normal 7 heads kind of thing, and then you have, like in the previous panel, always the characters, you have some severe shadows and surrounded by shadow, which is what always made him so difficult to ink. Because you couldn't. I mean, it's the book is supposed to be in color. It's not black and white. But just about everything he did, was really in black and white. And I've spoken to several of the inkers that worked on him, and they had to interpret what they were looking at.
Yeah. No, I love Gene's work now. This is a great page.
And again, it's the first appearance issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had to include it.
Now we got a Preacher cover here.
Well, we have, I think, if I saw 4, so we might have 5, 4 or 5 Preachers. We have a couple of really outstanding ones, and I thought this one is in the back, not even in the platinum, and I mean, it's beautifully done. Look at that Empire State Building. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Those shoes.
Yeah, the color choices on this thing are lovely. That's really nice.
So he's got the dark figure of his head there, and then that's why he puts the moon right there, so that it still sticks out and it gives you that great 3-dimensional feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that one too.
And we're running out of those covers, so as I said, once they're absorbed, they're going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what always happens with this.
All right.
I had to include this. This is from the famous tour sequence. George McManus, at some point in Bringing Up Father in the 30s there, decided that the family would go and tour around the world. So they had the family in Paris, in New York, in different countries. And He never did so much work in detail as he did on those pages. And they are considered the most desirable uh, McManus bringing up father pages. And they very, very rarely ever come up. And you can see why. I mean, look at this.
It's so clean. I mean, it's amazing.
And you're talking about one of the masters of the medium, just fantastic. The guy who owned this, his collection was in numerous museums. So there's not only this, but he has a hand colored example from 1924. He has early, what is it, Percy Crosby, early strip art examples that are very historic. Each one's a museum piece. And they're in the sale. This is the only one I put in.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I can't. I mean, I imagine it's a fairly larger piece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 16 and a quarter by 15. Yeah, that's cool. That's nice to see. I don't think I've seen one from the traveling period.
Yeah, the
That's a
tour
nice
pier sequence. Yeah.
tour. All right, now your last pick was a page from Cerebus 1,
I
19.
mean, Cerebus has become so iconic. I mean, Sim, uh, yeah, this is Cerebus's first appearance. Uh, and it's in the first issue, and it started as a parody of basically Barry Smith's Conan, you
Hmm.
know, uh, and it grew into this complex, sophisticated commentary on everything, basically anything that caught Sim's attention. And he said when he began, "I will do 300 books, hell or high water," and he did it. He did 300 issues himself.
Hmm. Well, this is so you get a first appearance page. We end with a first appearance page.
Kind of end. I think the only other piece, you and I talked about it off camera. We have a piece that I didn't include, but I was looking at it today. A
Oh,
Larry
that's right.
Elmore,
That's
Dungeons and Dragons.
Now is that in the
Well, just do a quick search in the sale and it'll come up. Larry Elmore.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Very memorable image right there. That's awesome. Wow.
So we've had a few Larry Elmore pieces, but none of the real TSR, Dungeons and Dragons uh, uh, game pieces. There, one was a recreation. I mean, and they went for $40,000. These. Uh, uh, I don't want to call them secondary pieces, but they weren't this piece. But here you have a very, very recognizable image, and it was used for the box cover of the 1988 Dungeons and Dragons city system, and it details the city of Waterdeep. It's been used on trading cards and numerous other places. Uh, an oil painting, 18 by 24. And Elmore was one of the most recognizable artists that worked on Dungeons and Dragons and for TSR. Uh, as I think I mentioned,
Hmm.
he joined either in 81 or 83, quickly became the director of art. And he was there during their big period of popularity.
Yeah. No, I mean, very memorable image, and yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'm glad we added this one in at the end of it. I see Marcus is saying, yeah, any Y the Last Man. Yes, there is a Y the Last Man. Yes, I think it's Tim Guerrero's. We took care of Tim at the start of this thing, but here I can show one. There you go. There's a Y the Last Man cover for Tim Guerrero, who I haven't seen him in the chat in a while, but everybody can let Tim know that we showed one more piece of his consigned in here, just to make the evening end on a high note. So this is going to be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, maybe there's not, there's not the $1 million piece in here as far as we know. But the thing is,
Uh,
high
who knows what that Spider Woman cover is going to go
that is
for?
true. Hey, right.
Uh,
You never say never. And I'm not
and you
saying
can't
that
say that a Frazetta oil might not go for $1 million,
I, it's
or an origin page
okay. Well,
from,
we're going to see. We're
yeah,
going to see.
yeah.
uh, that I wasn't trying to be, to try to, be a seer in any way and try to see where these things were going to
I,
end up.
I understand exactly where you're coming from. I'm just me. I've nothing ever amazes me anymore. I wouldn't have imagined a lot of these things hitting a million or 3 million or whatever. I mean, who would have thought the
Hmm.
Secret Wars 8 page? So you never
Nobody.
say never anymore. That's what I say.
Right. Well,
But
we will
the
find out.
the depth and breadth of this auction is very impressive,
Hmm.
and I've seen a few auctions.
Yes, you have in your time.
Yeah,
Many, many times over.
yeah.
Well, Joe, as always, these are fun. I'm looking forward to the auctions. I'm going to enjoy having a recap with the full team next Thursday, for an hour during the cap update. So make sure you tune into that. Let
I
Chip.
will.
We're going to be recapping the auction.
Just let them know I will be. I will be watching.
Yeah, we haven't chosen a format yet. We're probably all going to pick about 10 pieces each to talk about. But I told everybody I'm going to I'll go for the more obscure pieces. Let everybody else go for the pieces that they're because invariably each one of those guys will win something, and so that'll be in one of their 10, or they'll have a
Yeah.
couple pieces in there for that, and it's always fun. But yeah, all right, cool. So we'll do that, and then when is the next signature auction? We've got the international one, so we'll try to do
June. The
something.
next sale you have April 26th is the international, but
Yep.
obviously that's closed as far as consignments. And then the next big auction is June. We still have time for the deadline. I think it's around May 1st.
Hmm.
So if anybody is interested in consigning, feel free to reach out. Joe M at ha.com. I'd be happy to help, or whoever you deal with at Heritage, they'd be happy to help as well. And that's also promising to be a great sale. So yeah, um, it's still an exciting time, and we should all be happy that we're involved.
Very true. And I kept our names off the screen the whole time, but there you go. Right? Your email address is right there on the screen for anybody who has any questions about anything related to heritage auctions, whether it's consignments or how to purchase, how to kind of pre-set things up with heritage if you're looking to make a big purchase. There's
Yeah.
uh, there's always a question or two, and Joe can definitely take care of you.
Yeah, there are extended payment plans that people ask about if they
Hmm.
need to get approved in advance or not, and what the terms would be, and things like that. And of course, we always say that, the smart people always, if they do get something, especially in a sale like this, that there's still time to consign. You have time to consign something to pay for something, so you can reconcile your invoice, and you can trade up or whatever you want to do. But that's
Hmm.
that's what a lot of collectors do.
So true. All right, Joe. Well,
All
listen,
right, it's been a pleasure, Bill.
as always, and everybody in the chat, thank you for watching this evening. We appreciate you hanging out with us and egging us on. But nobody once shouted the words next except for Joe. So never in the chat tonight. So that's always a good sign that we were on pace. But thank you for hanging out with us, Joe. I'll see you again in a few months. Well, maybe even less than that, because if we can talk about the international one, I'd love to do it. Let's just see if we can get us all together for that one. That'll be
Yep.
that'll be a good time.
I'll get with Olivier on that.
All right.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank
All right,
you.
everybody.
All
Good
right.
night.